Welcome to Health Coach for Women. Intentional living for more happiness and fulfillment in your everyday life with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. Join Marsha as she shares her own personal wellness journey, as well as stories from our guests that will enlighten and inspire you to move towards better health and happiness. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Welcome to another episode of Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative solutions for better health and wellness. And I am your host, Marsha. I am so glad to be back here with you guys in person. I was on vacation. Before I forget, please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Now, as I was saying, I was on vacation with my family. We had a great time in Molokai, which is an island of Hawaii. It's a more secluded place. Less people go there. It's the least visited of all the islands, but the beauty it has, it's really a secret gem. It is a beautiful island. And I had a great time with being with my family, my mom, my son, my husband, and our family all together, mother-in-law, nieces, and everything. It was really a beautiful time. But I want to share with you a quote. When you stay on purpose and refuse to be discouraged by fear, you align with the infinite self in which all possibilities exist. And that's by Wayne Dyer. Okay. So I wanted to share that little tidbit with you, a little bit about my vacation, of course, and providing you with a quote that I enjoy. But today I want to talk to you about how women over 40 can have more energy and vitality, right? And feel more alive. That's what I want to talk to you about today. So how can we do that? How can we feel more alive? How can we have more energy in our body? Well, I have a few tips that I'd like to share. And of course, there are no extra hidden secrets. This is stuff I'm sure you may have heard before, but I just want to go over a few with you now. One of the things that you can do to have more energy and vitality is by moving your body. Right? Getting in a movement, right? Moving that body, whatever it is, whether it's walking, dancing, right? Dancing is a great way, great form of exercise. Dancing. So sometimes when you're just listening to music or just watching your favorite TV show, get up and move your body, right? Stretching is also good for you. It helps to stretch the spine, right? So consider that as well. And so the next thing I want to talk to you about is hydration, right? Hydration. The body is made up of over 75% of water. And so we need hydration. We need fluids, okay? Good fluids. So water, if you can have spring water, that's fine. That's like one of the best waters, right? But water, avoiding the pops, have something instead, maybe like coconut water. Coconut water is very alkaline, so consider some coconut water. Pineapple juice, right? Pineapple juice has bromelain, which helps with inflammation. Okay, so pineapple juice. Just staying hydrated throughout the day is important, especially where you're in the warm climates, or now you're in the seasonal area where it's now very warm. You definitely want to stay hydrated and drinking plenty of fluids. That's necessary. So let's talk about now managing our sugar intake, right? That's one of the things. So one of the things that we can do to prevent aging, right? Of course, and taking care of our body and have more energy is by avoiding those toxins that ages us, right? And gives us less energy. And so some of those toxins. And it's just, and I'm not going to go into the whole list of them, but if you smoke cigarettes, it ages you, right? Because of all of the chemicals that ages you. You can see a difference in a person's skin. Or even when somebody drinks a lot of soda, right? They have a lot of acne problems, right? So drinking a lot of sugary beverages, right? Those are not good for you to consume on a regular basis. And soda particularly is definitely not good. Even zero sugar, even the zero sugar, that's actually worse for you than the regular sugar. Okay. So cigarette smoke, alcohol, avoiding the sugars, right? Those are high fructose corn syrup or anything with those high fructose corn syrup. And now your sugar can be found in your natural fruits, right? Your natural fruits, there's sugar. There's natural sugar. So the body needs sugar, right? But we don't want to fill our body with all the extra added sugars, right? Because we know it isn't good for you, right? And so not only that, our body will just hold on. We know that the excess sugar only turns into, gets stored as fat, right? And so that's what it processes all those extra sugars, and the body stores it as fat. So we want to be mindful of the things that we do, right? We want to be mindful of everything that we do when it comes to our health. All right. And so what is another thing that would help us women over 50 with managing our health and vitality and feeling more energetic and alive, right? We talked about the importance of movement, right? But what about managing stress? Now, back from vacation, back from, taking your trips or a staycation or whatever it is, now that you're going back to work or doing whatever it is, how can we manage stress? What can we do to manage stress? How do we do that in a working environment, right? And so it's all with the attitude. It begins with that attitude and being able to communicate in a way that is effective. All right. So we want to communicate in a way that is effective. And so that comes with both by listening, right? By listening attentively, as well as being heard. And so a lot of things that people talk about in the work environment is that upper management. A lot of the complaints that I hear from people when it comes to their job being stressful is the workload, they're overworked and underpaid, right? So how can we fix that? Well, some things that we can look at is have an open dialogue, with your supervisors. And sometimes that may not be of use, but it's a way, it's a plan of action to see what we can do collectively as a work unit, a team, and how we can be more productive, yet be able to be effective in doing the things that we need to do when it comes to our jobs, right? When it comes to work, being in a work environment, less stress. Because at the end of the day, businesses are in a business to profit and make money. And so sometimes what happens, not in every organization, what happens is they're more concerned with the productivity and producing output, increasing revenue, and the worker is sometimes not as valued as much. So what we need to do is find a way that we can level the playing field. And we can do that again, like I said, by managing our stress levels, taking your breaks. And I talked about this before, especially when one of the episodes when I talked about working in healthcare and things of that nature for like nurses and assistants, healthcare professionals in general. Sometimes it's so busy, go, and you don't have time to take a break. But you're entitled to your 30 minutes or your 50 or 60 minutes. They're going to take it out anyway. So use it or lose it, I say, right? So take your breaks, take your 10-minute breaks, 15-minute breaks, whatever your company policy is, take it, because it doesn't serve you when you are in constant stress mode. And you know that chronic stress leads to illness and disease, right? Chronic stress leads to inflammation, illness, and disease. So we want to be mindful of when we are at work, right? Or when we are at home, taking care of either the children, if you're younger, or the children, grandchildren, or care for your parent. It can be very stressful and it can be very overwhelming, right? And so we have to be able to think not in a selfish way, but in a way that serves us in a way that is beneficial. And so by putting ourselves first, we have to, just like when you go on the airplane, each plane ride, the trip to Hawaii was, I think, 10 and a half hours long. And with every plane ride, they all went over the safety precautions. They always go over the safety precautions. And they always tell you, if you are traveling with a child or traveling with someone else who's in need or whatever, assistance with putting on their mask, guess what they always tell you? If you ever listen and pay attention, put your mask on first, then the other person. Okay, so put your mask on first. So think of it like that. It's not selfish. It's actually the way to go about it. Because if you're busy trying to put on someone else's mask and something happens in a process, what happened? You can't save yourself, so you have to secure your own health and well-being, your safety, and then you can and think about it. Think about it. When you're at your best and you're feeling at your best, you're more inclined, you're more energetic, you feel more alive and vibrant, you feel more purposeful, useful, that you can be in a position to feel the way you feel and to be able to help and serve someone else. So that's how you have to look at it, right? So putting yourself first and making sure that you are in tip-top shape as far as your own wellness, right? And your journey for your health and well-being, to get yourself in order first before you can help someone else. So that's what I wanted to say on that. So that's what we have to do to manage stress. And if you're in a work environment where it is just so hectic, so crazy, it may be time to move on. And sometimes you have to look at that and you skillfully, strategically plan those things out. You just don't jump ship without a plan. You have to have a plan, a strategic, well thought out plan, and then execute. Okay. And then execute and making sure you secure another job or position or whatever first before you leave the current situation that you are in. All right. And so this is how we can manage stress. And it's so important to being able to take those little breaks, even to breathe, doing your deep breathing, a 10-minute meditation or a 10-minute session of just quiet time, right? And to just have that moment for yourself. It's so important. I can't stress that enough. And so what is the next thing that we can do? Is taking supplements, right? Taking supplements. Of course, you want to pay attention and read your labels. You want to go organic as possible with your labels, with your supplements. Some supplements that are good for you that helps you to give you energy are B12 supplements. B12s are helps you with your energy. It's good for heart health. It's great for a number of things. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that B12 is not only heart health, but it's also good for bone health. It can also help with memory loss, right? It could also help improve memory. So you want to be sure that you are taking your supplements or your extra added things that you take, whatever it is that you may take, your supplements or foods, and the thing is that it's so, unless you're really growing your own food nowadays, it's so hard to get all of the nutrients that we need. And so that's why I would always recommend supplements, right? I would always recommend supplements. Vitamin D3 Of course, vitamin D3 is very important. Vitamin D, it helps. So spending time out in the sun is great, right? As you may notice, I may have a suntan. Spending time in the sun is great. But you also want to do things to protect your skin. And magnesium, right? Magnesium is another thing that is great for you. And it's helpful for people who suffer from neuro diseases. Magnesium is another supplement where it can help in easing constipation. It is also good for taking magnesium to help with type 2 diabetes. Lack of magnesium can increase your risk for type 2 diabetes. So you want to make sure you take your supplements. It's also good for heart health, bone health, magnesium, okay? And it can also help with sleep regulation, all right? So ADHD as well as MS, all right? And so it's just that we just need to do our due diligence and research certain things, but there are many benefits to all those things, those vitamins that I mentioned to you: vitamin D, B12, magnesium, of course, vitamin C. But to move on to the next topic, also herbal teas. Herbal teas. Herbal teas are great, right? The ancients has used it for many thousands of years, right? In medicine, right? These herbs and herbal teas, green tea, which I've talked about before. There's so many different teas. Burdock root help get rid of heavy metals, such as cilantro, help remove heavy metals. Echinacea, right? Good for the immune system. The echinacea plant, hibiscus, right? Hibiscus tea. There's so many, right? Chamomile tea helps with to relaxation, help with sleep. There's just so many, guys. The natural product of the earth are the things that are good for you, right? Yes, we know that some things are poisonous, right? And some things you can't take of. Listen, I even learned about the benefits of psilocybin, right? And that's another topic, right? The benefits of mushrooms, right? For people with mental health issues, right? And I can go on and on. I can go on and on, but this episode is only 30 minutes, right? But there's so many. Listen, I don't want you. What I'm learning is this, and I'm trying to say it in a way that I'll just say it, put it in a nice way. I'm learning that so many things that we've been taught to be bad for you is actually the opposite. So many things that we've been taught that is supposed to do one thing or is supposed to do this or do that is actually the total opposite, right? And so everything that we've learned, a lot of things that we have learned, we must unlearn. And you must be willing to open your mind as well as your heart in order to receive the information. So if your mind is closed and your heart is closed, you will not receive it. And so if you're not open to alternative and holistic solutions, then this is definitely not the channel for you. All right. So it's definitely not the channel for you. But if you are one that believes in the healing remedies of the natural plants and herbs and things of that, natural healing things that you can do that does not require pharmaceutical drugs, this is the place for you, right? And or maybe some other channel, right? But in any event, looking at alternative holistic solutions for health and wellness is the answer, right? And that's my firm belief. Now, I'm not saying some pharmaceutical drugs aren't good for you, but for the most part, from what I've seen, the the benefits and the side effects, you end up taking medication for the side effects of the things that you're getting the treatment for. So it's not aligned with my belief, right? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do everyone has to make their own choices of what's best for them. And so do your research, do your research. You don't have to take another person's word for it. Just do your own research. There's doctors now who are looking at alternative and holistic ways of healing now because they believed in the lie, right? They believed in what they were trained and taught. And so now that they've expanded and looked outside the box, outside of big pharma, they realize, from their own research that there are healing things that you can do, simple things that you can do that can heal the body without pharmaceutical drugs, right? Just with the natural remedies, the natural earth remedies that the Creator has provided. And that's including things for mental health. Again, I'm looking to see if I can find a specialist, a doctor, who I can actually bring on this show and tell you about the proven benefits of psilocybin and as well as other drugs that they consider drugs that just comes from the natural earth that are helping people with mental health issues. So that is all I have for you on this episode. Stay tuned for next week for another episode. I hope you enjoyed the information provided. Until next time, bye for now.
According to GlobeNewsWire.com, an estimated 128,000 health coaches and health educators advise and motivate clients to change bad lifestyle habits and to manage chronic conditions such as diabetes. Consumers, employers, and insurers are each now more seriously focused on improving health and being proactive. Insurance companies, doctors, and patients themselves see the critical need and demand for health coaches, as well as other integrative natural health practitioners. There is no doubt with the use of health coaches being a crucial part of the healthcare team brings added value to the client, patient, and the healthcare system overall. At Health Coach for Women, our mission to get clients to optimal health at the cellular level. We help clients manage their chronic pain, fatigue, insomnia, depression, anxiety, brain fog, diabetes, and gut health with 3 simple protocols. Once you become a client at HC4W, we take a simple test and assessment to determine a plan of action towards wellness. Schedule a call by going to healthcoachforwomen.com.
Thank you so much for listening to Health Coach for Women with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.